Welcome back, grade 11s. Now let's continue and look at our third concept, which is types of presentations and visual aids. Differences between verbal and non-verbal presentation. With verbal presentation, it refers to the use of speech by the presenter to convey a message to stakeholders. For example, what I'm doing currently, this is verbal presentation because you can hear what I'm saying. I'm using a speech. Then non-verbal presentation refers to the use of written words to convey a message to stakeholders. So non-verbal presentation, it refers to the written words. If I were just to show you the slides and keep quiet and not say anything, that would be non-verbal presentation because there's no usage of speech. Then examples of verbal presentation, we have oral presentation, we have recorded presentation, and question and answer session. Then the examples of non-verbal presentation, we have business reports, we have questionnaires, we have financial reports, we have brochures and handouts. Then the types of visual aids that we have a table, we have graphs, we have flowcharts, we have posters, we have handouts, as well as transparency. Now we are going to explain the types of visual aids one by one. We'll start with the tables. A table is a set of facts and figures arranged in columns and in rows. The information in a table is used to compare or contrast data. So when we talk of a table, is a set of figures that are arranged in columns. It is used to compare different information or data, or even to differentiate between data. Then we have a bar graph. A bar graph is a diagram showing how two or more sets of data are related. They are useful when one wants to compare data over a period of time. Then we move on to the line graph. A line graph is a diagram, usually a line or curve, that shows how two or more sets of numbers or measurements are related. So when we talk of a line graph, we are referring to a graph that has vertical axis and horizontal. So we have the y-axis as well as the x-axis, whereby we use a line to compare the information or even measure the numbers. It gives an indication of how trends have changed actually over some time. So when we use a graph, we would actually want to see how the trends are going. So you would actually see the line. If it curves down, then it simply means that the trends were going down. If it goes upwards again, then it simply shows that they were actually going up. Then we have a pie chart. You can even see on our picture there, it's an example of a pie chart. A pie chart is a circle divided into segments, as you can see in this picture, which are represented with percentages. So a pie chart is not only a chart that has equal parts. It depends on the percentages of whatever data that you have that you are calculating that is going to actually show the segments of a pie chart. Then it is used to graphically illustrate sets of data in proportion to each other. So it's actually used to do what? To illustrate the set of data in proportion to each other, whereby you can see, for instance, if these were saying the sales in 2020, and then we see the sales in 2021, 22, so it shows different segments in proportion to each other. Then we have a flowchart or diagram. A flowchart is a symbolic representation of information using visualization techniques. It is used to illustrate processes or relationships. Then we have a poster. Posters are often a large sheet of paper or cardboard used to promote certain products or events. As you can see on the picture, these are posters whereby they promote a certain product. It's done on a large sheet or on a cardboard, advertising a product or promoting an event that is going to take place. They are usually pasted on public street poles or walls. Still on types of visual aids, we have handouts. Handouts are copies of a presentation where the content of multiple slides is displayed on a single or multiple pages. Then we have transparencies. A transparency is a thin sheet of transparent, flexible material. They are plastic sheets that a presenter can use to write the information on. So when we talk of transparencies, we are referring to a plastic sheet that is being used on an overhead projector, whereby the presenter is able to write whatever information that he or she wants to be projected towards the audience, to the audience, so that they can see that information. Then let's move on to our fourth concept, which is preparation of visual aids. So we have guidelines on how to prepare transparencies or slides. First, you need to summarize the text that will be included in the transparency. So since it's a plastic sheet, you cannot write everything, right, as if you are writing notes on that particular plastic sheet, which we call the transparency. You need to summarize information that you will write on the transparency. Keep information on the transparency short and simple. So the information that has to be there on the transparency, when you prepare them, it has to be short and simple so that it doesn't cause any confusion for the reader if there's too much information. Refrain from using full sentences. Include only key concepts. So when you prepare transparency, you need to make sure that you do not write full sentences, but instead you write the key concept. The key concepts. Choose a font size that will be easy to read. When you prepare transparencies, you need to make sure that the font size that you are going to use is visible. Stakeholders or the audience that you're going to be presenting to are able to read what you have written on the transparency. Then we move on to the guidelines on how to prepare posters. Use the title on the poster to draw the attention of the reader. So when you prepare a poster, you need to make sure that you have a big title that is going to attract the attention of the reader. The poster must be designed to be attractive and eye-catching. So you would want people to read your poster, to look at your poster. In order for them to do that, the poster must be attractive so that they can be able to actually read what's written on the poster. People must find the poster easy and quick to read. So you do not include everything as if you are writing notes on the poster. So you have to have those quick reads that if a person just is grabbing attention, the poster is grabbing attention actually of the reader, then the reader within just minutes is able to see and understand exactly what the poster is about. Keep the poster simple and free of unnecessary information. So you need to make sure that your poster does not contain unnecessary information, which is going to cause boredom to the reader if it has that unnecessary information. Then we look at the guidelines on how to prepare handouts. This picture is an example of a handout. The handouts must complement the presentation using summarized notes. So obviously you would want to do a presentation. After the presentation, you give handouts, which is a summary of what you were presenting about. So it's a summary of the presentation. Prepare a cover page with the title and details of the presenter. So when you prepare handouts, you need to make sure that there's a cover page. There's also information of the presenter on that particular handout, so that if there's any clarity that would be needed, maybe in future, if the reader is at home, they're able to call or even maybe SMS or email you and ask you about that particular information that they need clarity on. The handout must include information like definitions or table or illustrations. So obviously your handout has to have illustrations, it has to have tables, it has to have definitions, so that information is kept neat and there's not a lot to read, because if we have illustrations, then illustrations make information to be summarized and it's easier for the next person to read and understand what is being written there. I hope and wish that today's lesson was fruitful, and you need to know that what you learned today does not nullify yesterday, but it does make tomorrow better. Hope to see you next time. Goodbye.